And hello, welcome to this very special episode of Solo Playthroughs where I'm going to go through the top 10 spirits with Spirit Island, including Spirit Island Branch and Claw and Spirit Island Jagged Earth, and specifically for true solo play. A few caveats. This is my list. Alright, it's only according to me. I didn't use some grandiose scientific method in determining which should be the top 10. I don't have some elaborate chart where I've tracked all my wins and losses. I promise you I don't. Additionally, I actually do things that don't involve playing board games sometimes. Sometimes, not a lot. And I do play other games that are not Spirit Island. So some of these spirits I have not played in quite a while. There's 24 spirits. They all play very differently. So I am going on memory. Perhaps I have a bias that's putting one spirit a little bit too high or a little bit too low. I might address some of those as I go, and I might not. Additionally, you're going to get a bonus. I'm going to go through 11 through 24, again, according to my personal list. And just so you get a sense of where they fall, I'm not going to say too much about them. I will spend the bulk of this video talking about 1 through 10. And a final caveat, look, this list might change in like 6 hours once I'm done filming it, right? I'd already make a pretty substantial change to my Arkham LCG top 10 true solo. I'd probably sub out William York and put in Ashcan Pete, but that's based on more plays with both of those characters and some really awesome comments both on Reddit and on the video here on YouTube. So man, keep the comments coming. If you think I'm wrong, please tell me, because I'll take it seriously, and maybe I'll play some more games, and maybe I'm missing something, maybe I'm overvaluing, undervaluing, who knows. But again, this is fun to do, so let's get to it. So let's go through 24 down to 11. I'm going to try to say as little as possible. That's so hard for me. You all can figure that out by now. But I just want to kind of go through them. Maybe I'll say a word or two, maybe I won't, I don't know. But 24 down to 11, just so you can see what I'm thinking about as I get to my top 10. We have 24, Finder of Paths Unseen, really cool spirit. That whole thing, it's the additional loss conditions kill it in a true solo game more often than not. But again, awesome spirit, just not very strong true solo. 23, Vital Strength of the Earth. Pretty obvious, not a lot of damage capabilities, really hard to make it work true solo. Cool spirit, love it in the co-op game, but not great true solo. Fractured Days, Split the Sky. The very high complexity spirits of Jagged Earth are all not very good true solo compared to the others, right? It's relative to the others. Fractured Days, one of his unique powers is useless in a true solo game, which kind of gives a sense, hey, this is a better spirit in more when there's more boards, right? But it's super cool. Love playing it. Beat a level 3 adversary on the channel, I think, if I remember correctly. But again, not very strong true solo. Shadows Figure Like Flames. All right, I admit it. My hatred for Shadows is out of control, and I need to rein it in. So I'm going to publicly apologize to Mr. Shadows and his family. He's okay. He's just okay. He's underwhelmingly okay. So that's the point, I guess. That said, the aspect card makes him better. If I was counting the aspect card from Jagged Earth, had more experience with that, he might eke up there a few slots. Maybe, maybe not. Starlight Seeks His Form would be number 20. Number 20 is pretty good, I guess. Starlight's cool. Again, those very high complexity spirits, hard to make work in a lot of true solo situations. Starlight does take a bit to get going. It's hard to see that being highly effective against the higher level adversaries. Level 3 I think would be great. Beyond that, I think you're going to struggle more often than not, but I could be wrong. Do need to explore that spirit a bit more. All right, number 19, Strata Mist. It's cool, really like it, highly thematic. It might actually send me into a slow death spiral because it's very upset with this low ranking. But yeah, I play it like Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares. They've been able to beat some high-level adversaries, but you're very reliant on the fear cards, very reliant on the event deck, very reliant on a Blighted Island card that doesn't totally ruin you in a true solo game. It's just going to be a little bit more limited, but again, super cool. Really do like it, but it's going to sit there at number 19. Number 18, River Surges in Sunlight. Woo! Yeah, just very good at pushing things around, not so good at damage. You know, preventing builds is a strong way to win, but if you don't have someone else that's going to come in there and be able to take care of wiping some things out, it's going to be hard to win at some of the higher levels. Again, those low complexity spirits in the very high complexity spirits in Jagged Earth are going to be lower on my list here, and the low complexity spirits from the original game are going to be lower on my list. So it shouldn't be much of a surprise that we have River Surge in the Sunlight at number 18. Number 17, Downpour Drenches the World. It's cool, relying on the mechanic of having to have the ability to use powers to really get some stuff done. This is a mechanic I need to explore more. Perhaps I have Downpour a little bit low. I was struggling to put together some wins against the higher level adversaries. When I was playing with Downpour, it was, I think, the second spirit I featured from the Jagged Earth spirit. So again, might be a little bit low for where it is. Really, really cool spirit. Just not that enamored with it in a true solo game. The energy production just isn't enough to really make it come to life in the way to take advantage of its special rules, at least in my experience. But again, cool spirit, just number 17. Number 16, Volcano Looming High. Admittedly, this is the spirit I have played the least. I am going to play it more before we get to the 27th with my live playthrough. Again, Eric Royce joining me at 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be there. It's going to be awesome. So, yes, Volcano is a very cool spirit. It's kind of a race to get to that big explosion in a true solo game, so you can just wipe out a ton. The limitation on where you can have your presence makes it a little harder to be super effective with Volcano True Solo. And against the higher level adversaries, it's going to be harder to get that big eruption you're going to need to win, and that blight management becomes an issue. But Volcano Looming High, very cool. Number 16. All right, number 15 is Lightning's Swift Strike, the last of the low complexity spirits from the base game. Awesome spirit. Love the fact that I have a spirit that I can give to a new player and say, here, take that. That fast slow thing, don't worry about it. I will not, you can't quarterback in this game, right? People say that all the time. You really can't. I mean, I guess some people could try it. I don't. But I'll track the skies for you just to make sure that you're playing legally. But every one of the unique powers that starts the game has a sky. You get to a sky on the energy track at some point, I think. Do you? No, I'm making it up. It's right there. No, you don't. But you have enough skies generally to do what you need to do. Super, super cool spirit. Again, love the fact that I can give this to a player, and not only will they kind of be able to get into it easier, they're going to have a spirit that's like just destroying stuff left and right, and that's super fun. And they don't have to do the math of like counting what I did 1 damage, 2 damage. No. They just wipe that sucker out. Very fun to play. Very dynamic. You get to that death spiral though, where you're playing cards, you're getting cards back, you're playing cards. It's hard to really grow. And again, you go too late into a game with Lightning, you'll probably eventually be overrun. But I've definitely beat some strong adversaries with it. Big fan of it. So number 15 is Lightning Swift Strike. Number 14, Bringer of Dreams and Nightmares. Man, the only time I beat level 6 Russia was with Bringers of Dreams and Nightmares, right? It's super cool. It's a very cool spirit. Chasing that fear right off the bat, it's often easier to do than you think, especially with those innates. It's got a lot of cool tricks, but again, you're in a race. There will be blight. There will be more of it than is ideal, and it's going to be hard for you to do much about it in most games. So you're in that race. Can you get to the fear before the island goes blighted and then you lose? Maybe, right? Maybe. I got super lucky in that Russia level 6, but the potential is totally there to get to that fear victory, true solo. Love the spirit, just not going to be higher than where it is right now at number 14. Number 13, Keeper of the Forbidden Wilds. Now this is where we start getting at the spirits that I really thought could be in my top 10. And then the list kind of developed. For Keeper of the Forbidden Wilds, those pick 2 spirits are strong. I really like it. They give you that extra flexibility to do what you need to do at any times. Obviously, if there's too much blight on the island, Keeper can struggle, right? But if you normally, with the wilds and the powers are so strong and the energy production, there's usually a way that you can find to get where you need to get quick enough that the blight doesn't become an issue, and then you can really, again, you get the right major power draws, and Keeper is just super, super strong. Number 13, Keeper of the Forbidden Forest. Wilds. Forest. I don't know. One of those two. Keeper of the Forbidden Wilds. I said it right the first time. I promise. Don't check the tape. All right. Number 12. Oh, I was so sad when I took Heart of the Wildfire out of my top 10. But it had to go. I started playing those moderate Jagged Earth spirits, and I was like, oh, okay. Things are changing. So here we go. Heart of the Wildfire, great. I love the brinksmanship element. I love that the thematic nature of how the mechanics come together. And I put presence down. Oh, Blake, look at that. The one thing that limits Heart of the Wildfire is often you need to find a way to get presence, invaders, and blight all in the same land to be super, super effective. Not always the easiest thing, right? So there becomes this puzzly aspect of what lands you can target and how to set things up so that you can target them when you want to target them to do the powers that you want to do in them, right? But it's a very, very cool one. Heart of the Wildfire, one of my favorites, just not strong enough in my mind to be in the top 10. Number 11, Vengeance as a Burning Plague. Another one. I love this spirit. I first played it, and I think I tweeted out that I fell in love with a lizard. A beautiful, 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 beautiful lizard. I mean, look, the disease mechanic is great. The fact that you can use the disease in one of two ways. You can use it for its normal function, or you can kind of let things happen and then use it to set a trap and do the X amount of damage that you want to do. It's really cool. It's really dynamic. When you can get to the places where you're getting into the higher level innates, it's so awesome to see how strong this spirit can be. The question is, how often can you get there in a true solo game against a level 4, level 5 adversary, right? I think often enough to try it, right? But not as often in my mind as the 10 spirits that are ahead of it. So with regret, I will say, I'm sorry, Mr. Lizard, you are going to head that way. And now, the moment you've been waiting for, top 10 true solo spirits for Spirit Island, coming up with number 10, Shifting Memory of Ages. Shifting Memory is cool. The ability to get major powers so quickly is a real game changer. And I guess you could get major powers quickly with other spirits as well, but it does change your game. And a lot of times you're the calculus of, all right, if I gain a major power now, what am I losing? It's a hard balance to strike. Whereas Shifting Memory, you can do a little bit. It's a little less punitive, right? Because you don't have to give up a card. You might just discard it. But then there's ways to make that work. The ways that he creates elements, I was definitely undervaluing his second innate power. A couple people pointed that out to me very articulately in the comments of my playthrough as him. And it's just cool to see how he comes to life. Those major powers, again, can be swingy, but they're still major powers. They're still strong. And there's still a way that you can usually piece together a solid combination of offense and defense when you are playing as Shifting Memory of Ages. So, number 10, Jagged Earth, extraordinary himself, the strongest spirit on the land, if only he can remember his powers, Shifting Memory of Ages. Number 9, a spread of Rampant Green. I was on a comment board and someone talked about spread of Rampant Green as like only a good support character, and I was like, very confused by this this idea. You're always putting a presence out, and then you have a growth option as well, right? That's crazy. That is crazy, crazy. I mean, you're getting through your track quickly. You have the 2 plants that come from your energy track, and yeah, he's great as a support character because he allows other spirits to get their presence out quickly. But make no mistake, do not sleep on Spread of Rampant Green as a force true solo. The ability to say, bink, I take a presence up. You don't do that build, Mr. Adversary, or you don't do that ravage, Mr. Adversary, is so strong. And if you can just think ahead, see where you need to get those sacred places, yeah, you're a little bit, if the invader cards come out heavily leaning toward wetlands and forest, or wetlands and jungles, you will have an easier time, no doubt. But there's still so many other ways you can get presence on the board to take advantage of the special rules and to get all that presence off the board, and then you start stacking that damage up with Creeper's Terror into Mortar. Man, you get a card that allows you to put some what am I talking about? Some Badlands out. Oh, that really opens that up. It's just really, really strong. I love this spirit. Against all the adversaries, 4 or 5, it can really hold up fairly well. I haven't played it too much against some level 6s, but I have no doubt that it could actually log some wins with enough plays. So that is at number 9 is the Spread of Rampant Green. And number 8, Serpent slumbering beneath the island. Man, I slept. Talking about slumbering. I was slumbering on this spirit for a long time. It was really the playthrough that on this channel I was like, well, I gotta figure him out. Let's do it. I remember it made my head explode. That was long before I ever knew Jagged Earth was a thing that I was going to love and dive into as much as I have. But this spirit is cool. It's really cool. Now remember, yeah, his utility's off the chain, but utility means you're helping another spirit, and when you're playing true solo, all those benefits you're giving to another spirit, well, now you're giving to yourself. And that puzzle that you can create now with those cards to get so many more card plays than you think you can get. You're gonna be able to get more energy than you would think you can get, and you just got to figure out how to piece those powers together to really give yourself strong enough turns early just to survive. And man, once you get past that midpoint, game over. And it's not a lot easier to get past that midpoint than I thought it would be when I first started playing with Serpent True Solo. You do have to be a little creative. Obviously, you're going to have to play the card that allows you to cover up these a little bit as you go. But even then, you could start to just intentionally sacrifice a presence or two as you go. So you're making sure that you're just able to keep continuing to get presence off of these tracks to get to that 6 energy and 4 card plays. And again, game over. The innate powers are great. Really can help open up the game. If you can manage to get those 2 plants there, that's great. You get the element on the track. So much going on with this spirit. And again, you have that the one card that you put it out, and then you can pay for another. You get an energy, and you can use that energy to play another card. It's amazing. You have that one card that's like, all right, we'll gain a card. You can play it now if you want, or you can not play it. But then you get a moon and a mountain. Well, a moon and mountain allows you to generate a lot of fear, right? So you have all these things working for you to allow Serpent to just be awesome. So big fan of Serpent. I know 8 doesn't sound awesome. That's how much I love the ones above it. But Serpent's really, really strong. Big fan of it. Number 8, Serpent slumbering beneath the island. Number 7, Ocean's Hungering Grasp is so good. Ocean is great. You're so dependent on getting a power that has range 2 that can do some damage inland. I understand that, right? There's enough of those cards in the major power deck that you might have to draw. You might have to gain a major power card 2 or 3 times to get what you need exactly, but you should be able to get it soon enough in the game that you're gonna be okay, barring an unlucky sequence of invader cards. Oceans, again, this was really my first understanding that when I was playing Spirit Island, I was playing a game that I was going to love forever when I started diving into Ocean. And it opened my understanding up of the game and how thematic and how brilliant the mechanics were for each of the spirits when I started playing with Ocean and saw that presence go on and off. And I was like, wow, it's like something clicked for me with this game at that moment. And then you just see that ability you get the energy factory of drowning invaders, and then you get the damage that damage factory where you can drown the invader. You get the fear, you get the energy. More invaders build, you drown them, you get the fear, you get the energy. It's really, really cool. Actually, the worst part about the toughest times I have with Ocean is when there's not an initial build on the coast, right? Because then you can't get that machine going. But so I want give me a ton of coastal stuff early, and then strategically you might want to even if it means a blight at some point, you might want to let the Ocean coastal land build up a little bit, so then you can do that drowning, get that energy, get that fear, and really keep marching toward a victory. Terror level 2, Terror level 3, whatever. But a very, very strong spirit, really good against almost every adversary. Obviously, it's an amazing matchup against Scotland. Yeah, good luck, Scotland, against this powerhouse. So number 7, Ocean's Hungry Grasp. Number 6, maybe my favorite. It's up there. I think my favorite is still to come, but it's up there. Is Lore of the Deep Wilderness. I I joked when I first played as Lore, like I could not stop thinking about it for a couple of days. It's so creepy, and it's like this like toad frog thing in the wilderness just being like, come to me, it'll be fine, and like this mesmerizing way, and just makes these towns disappear and these cities even disappear, and these explorers are just a non-factor. The thing with Lore is that I might be undervaluing him because I kept forgetting all of his benefits, right? The extra fear you can do with Forsake Society, the chase after dreams is something I know I forget often. And then again, it took me a while to get into my head, oh wait, I could totally ignore those explorers. I don't need to worry about the damage they're going to do because they just don't exist this turn. How cool is that? I love the fact that this spirit can just crush Russia in most games, and that's been really nice because it makes me feel good when I have an opportunity to crush Russia. And this is not a political statement. I'm talking about Russia in the game. You can deduce whatever you want beyond that. But yeah, Lore of the Deep Wilderness is just so cool. It's so good. It's so thematic. It's so strong. It's great. So number 6, Lore of the Deep Wilderness. Number 5, we're getting there, kids. Stone's Unyielding Defiance. Again, the first Jagged Earth Spirit I did. Am I overvaluing it? Maybe. Am I undervaluing it? Maybe. I was having a hard time figuring out where to put Stone because it's been a while. I'm sure I would play Stone a lot stronger now because I've had a lot more experience with Jagged Earth. I've had a lot more experience with the powers. I have a lot more experience with Badlands. I have a lot more experience with Isolate, right? So all those things would help me with play Stone stronger. The fact that you basically have unlimited blight if you're unlocking the right innates is ridiculous, and it just puts Stone in a conversation that the other spirits aren't in, right? Because it's just the ability that it can elongate the game in ways and give you more of a chance. If you don't have the right damage card, oh wait, we're supposed to blight and cascade. Well, look, I'm just going to take that right out of the box instead of off the card. Woo! Magically, we have another turn to do what we need to do to continue to march toward a victory. It is unyielding and it is defiant, and I love it. I mean, as I said in the playthrough, this is what Vital Strength of the Earth wanted to be when it grew up, and it just didn't quite get there. But we got Big Bad Stone bringing it in and bringing it strong. And man, do I love this spirit. And it was such an awesome introduction for me to the world of Jagged Earth. I was so glad that I randomized it. This is what I fell into, and it was so cool. It was just like, wow, this game is awesome. So that's number 5, Stone's Unyielding Defiance. Number 4 is Sharp Fangs Behind the Leaves. This is probably my favorite spirit. I just love how it operates. I love the fact that there's something really satisfying about amassing this pile of beast tokens that just are doing damage, and they're preventing builds, and they're generating fear. The pick 2 nature of the spirit makes him, again, extraordinarily strong in that you can make sure you kind of always have what you need to have. I take advantage of that special rule of turning a presence into a beast a lot. I mean, I might do it a little bit too much, but I do it a lot. Get me beast everywhere. Let me maul all of the invaders as quickly as possible, and just keep doing what I need to do with that. And obviously the right event cards, it's like a cheat code with Spirit. But even if you don't get the right event cards, there's so much strength in what Beast does with its innates. Again, you get some Badlands on there as well with the Beast. They would work in tandem extremely well. So Sharp Fangs Behind the Leaves, I mean, it's number 4. It is the highest ranked of the there's one more. The highest ranked of the non-Jagged Earth spirits. That's not named Thunderspeaker. Spoiler alert. So it's really up there. I almost put it ahead of Thunderspeaker. I really did. And that's how highly I think of Sharp Fangs. But unfortunately, I couldn't put my favorite up at number 1 because the other 3 are just so good. But this is it. Number 4, Sharp Fangs Behind the Leaves. And here she is, Mrs. Thunderspeaker, number 3. That's what we got. Yeah, Thunderspeaker. I'll tell you what. I think the first time I beat level 6 France was with Fangs. I think the first time I beat level 6 England and level 6 Sweden was with Thunderspeaker. The ability to move Dahan and then combine that to do damage, and the ability to have the unique powers that give the defend with Thunderspeaker is so strong. Yeah, you need to be careful when Dahan are defeated, right? If Dahan are destroyed by Ravage, that's going to cost you some presence, so you need to be careful with that. But the movement there is so dynamic, and as I said earlier, I mean, Ocean was really the first spirit that let me realize, like, oh, this game's really awesome. Like, I knew it was good, but no, it's really awesome. Thunderspeaker was the first time I started to really delve into the movement mechanics and just what that meant, understood the importance of the elements and what that meant. Was a big part of me kind of taking my next step of growth with this game. And then I went back to the other spirits and kind of used some of those lessons to improve my play across the board. It's a cool spirit. I mean, I've probably used that phrase 100 times before, but this is she's really strong, and it's hard to imagine any of the other original non-Jagged Earth spirits being better than her on an objective sense. Really curious about comments on that specifically below. But if I had to take one of the original 12 spirits, or the original 10, I'm definitely taking Thunderspeaker. The original 12, I'd be hard pressed to choose anyone else in a game, and obviously that's why I put her up at number 3. Thunderspeaker, she's great. Number 2, Grinning Trickster Stirs Up Trouble. How cool is this spirit? What I love about Trickster is you can beat the highest level adversaries, but it's often a longer game with a lot of decisions. It's very dynamic. Again, I still stand by what I said in my playthrough, where that moderate complexity ranking is just low to me, right? I think there's so much going on with Trickster, with the innates, with how he operates, with the use of strife, that I would put it into the high complexity categories. But that said, it's really strong, and the ability to, I can put a strife almost every fast power phase with my innate. Once I start getting going, and then I can spend 1 energy and I can put 2 strife. I mean, fast strife is ridiculous, right? Because I can put 2 strife. I don't even have to put the second strife in the same land. I can put it in an adjacent land. I mean, the ability just to prevent badness over and over and over again while you have all these other powers that allow you to do damage, and while you're like, oh, I'm gonna play a trick, let's see what happens here, bing, and that doesn't need to hit for you every time, but it usually hits often enough that you just start gaining control of the island as you go, and you get to this place where there's freaking strife everywhere, and you are just a force. Because at that point, then you could use the Dahan, you get them where you want, you're destroying things, blah. It's so cool. It's a very, very well thought out spirit. It took me a while to get my head around it, but when I did, I was like, man, it's just super strong. And I had it at number 1 for a while, and y'all, most people will know who number 1 is at this point, because this is number 2, and there's only one I haven't mentioned. Figure it out. But Grinning Trickster is really cool. I do that. The more I play it, that theme comes out from him, and that impish nature of I just imagine this crazy little, woolly thing in the woods, I'm gonna do this, all right, and then it's oh, there's a fire. Oops, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Blight and kill it down and whatever else he does accidentally. But it's a very, very strong spirit, and just it's fun to play. The games are great, and they feel epic. They feel challenging in some cool ways. So again, big fan of the Spirit, big fan of how strong it is, and that's why it's at number 2. And number 1, I guess it's in the title, right? This is probably meant to be. Many Minds move as 1. My only complaint with Many Minds is that, unlike Trickster, where I feel like every game is this kind of this like puzzle from the first turn, and you have to figure it out and use your strife and use your innates, and you're gambling a little bit with some of your powers. Many Minds is kind of boring to me. It's just really workmanlike. I have played 8 games with Many Minds, all against level 4 adversaries. I have never lost. That is not a statement on how good I am at Spirit Island. That is a statement of how strong this Spirit is. That I have literally never lost a game. And when I first started playing, I'm like, wait a second. The dude does no damage. Like, how does that work? But then you're like, holy cow. He generates a ton of fear. He moves Dahan around pretty easily. He gets a lot of defense. And then you're like, he doesn't need to do damage because the beasts are everywhere. The event cards are going to help you out. The Dahan are going to fight back. The fear cards are going to help you out. And generally speaking, you're going to get to a fear victory before you even need to destroy any of the cities anyway, because it's that ridiculously strong. The ability to say, nope, you're not acting in that. I mean, you have like a little bit of spread of Rampant green in there because you can just take a beast away. But there's so many, who cares? Oh, one of the beasts is gone. That's fine. We're not acting in that place. Man, if they were going to build M Rabbits in the same place, you can take, if there's 4 beasts there, you can take 2 beasts away. They're not acting in that place. It's so nuts. The many ways that Many Minds, didn't even intend that, the many ways that Many Minds will beat the adversaries and will always have an answer to what they do. I'm definitely excited to bring Many Minds up against the higher levels. I will not remain lossless, I should say. I will not remain undefeated is the word I should have said for forever with Many Minds. I will lose, for sure. But again, eight games in, the Spirit really clicked with me. It's really strong. It's stronger than Fangs. It's stronger than Thunderspeaker. Again, in my opinion, I'm sure someone's going to argue the other side, and I'm going to be all there for it. I cannot wait to see the comments on this video. I'm a little nervous about that, but I also can't wait to see the comments. But for me, number 1, Many Minds move as 1. It's poetry. It works. It's amazing. Very cool Spirit. Now, again, as I said, this could change in 6 hours. That's my top 10, well, my top 24 for now at this moment, and there will be some jockeying, and I'll have more experience with some spirits, and that's going to kind of change my view of things a little bit, and that's the cool thing about this game and how deep and how rich and how exciting it is. But if you're just starting out solo, you take one of those spirits in the top 5, top 10 even, and start playing around with it, and you should be able to get to a place where you're consistently winning against level 1, level 2 adversaries with any of those spirits. So if true solo is what you're looking to do, that's great. If you're one of those people that swears by playing two-handed, God bless you. That is not me. I don't enjoy it that way. I love playing co-op, or I love playing true solo, and that's just what I find fun about this game. And it's so cool that there's a game out there that has so many ways to enjoy it, and you can really kind of do what you want to do to have the most fun with this game. And that's the whole point of this hobby, right? So look, I am so, speaking of the whole point of this hobby is having fun, this channel is so much fun. I appreciate all the support. I appreciate the likes and the comments and the people I've virtually met over the last 15 months now. It's nuts to think about where this channel has come. In that time, the Spirit Island community, I've said this before, was the first community to really find my channel and to start me on a path toward real growth and give me the chance to improve my lighting, improve my presentation, improve my overall setup, and just improve this channel as I continue to go forward. I'm super excited about what we have coming up in the weeks to come. And don't forget, 27th, Eric Royce on the channel for Q&A at 5:30 Eastern Standard Time before I do a live playthrough with Volcano. Really excited about that. It is the last of the 24 we're going to get on the channel. it will be done, and then we're going to do scenarios. We're going to do some level 5 adversaries, and we're going to do double boards. Maybe I'll do one thing two-handed just to do it. I don't know. We'll see. There's endless content with this game, and I'm super excited about going deeper and deeper and deeper with it with all y'all. And I really, again, appreciate the support. Thanks a lot. Until next time, happy gaming.